So that week that I was changing up my whole channel with the logo and the overlay and stuff like that, I was just sitting up and I realized that, I was, making another change. The previous logo that I had made that myself, but after using Chat GPT and by updating it, making it more gaming and more modern, to where I was just like, you know what, it's time for another change. So, you know, and when I realized what I was doing, it was just like, I'm growing. I'm growing in terms of becoming a better content creator. I'm growing in terms of, you know, becoming better with my creativity. So, just recently, I just dropped two videos about sorrows, how to beat the bosses. So, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I would have never thought I'll even make those kind of videos because, you know, you have to really just make sure you know how to beat the boss. So that's just one. And two is like you have to do a lot of cutting and clipping and stuff like that. So when I took that time, I took my time with it, and I feel like I did the best of my ability to tell people on how to beat these bosses and stuff like that. And I will be doing more of those videos because that's a way of growing your channel, especially as a gaming content creator. So, and just looking back at that, I was just like, you know what? I'm really starting to grow. I'm really starting to think outside the box when it comes to doing, you know, stuff like that, doing different content and stuff like that. Because, you know, when you start doing the same stuff kind of over and over again, and that depends on how your audience is, you know, you want to start experimenting, doing different things, doing, different scenarios and doing different videos because, that's how, to me, and it just only just my opinion. I think this is just the way that I need to be, especially me doing gaming. So, and I'm really proud of myself of me making all these changes and growing and trying to do different things. And a lot of people, they kind of stay stuck. They kind of stay in the same little loop in the little box, They just live stream and then make gaming videos and stuff like that. Because I was like that at one point. When I first started off, doing the whole content thing, I was just dropping video. Because at the time I had, just the PS5. So I was just, dropping gameplay videos, and I didn't have any commentary at the time. So then next I went on and just started streaming. So, and I noticed something with the new gaming channels that I'm bumping into. You guys, you have to, I'm not going to say you don't have to as of yet, but once you start getting comfortable, go ahead and start talking on your live streams. That way, that you can engage with people that comes into your live streams, because this being quiet and all that, you're not going to get really a lot of views like that. You're not going to get a lot of people that come into your your live stream and to engage with you. So, you want to kind of keep in mind. I know it's kind of scary at one point. You get kind of nervous, but if you continue to practice and keep doing it, and over time, it becomes second nature to you. So that's one thing. Another thing that I want to talk about is your thumbnails. You want to I know a lot of people don't really just, they're not really good at thumbnails. And, at one point I was doing thumbnails myself. I was doing them by myself at one point, doing it on my own. But once I started using ChatGPT and I was asking it on how, how I can make my thumbnails stand out more and make it better, it helped me out. So, ChatGPT really just helped me out with my creativity. And and I understand there's a lot of, other people that create stuff, making logos and stuff like that, but and everything costs. So and I understand that's that's gonna mess up a lot of people, but we in this technology age now, and a lot of people are really just trying to save their money, so they're trying to keep money in their pockets, and that's understandable. So but at the same time, it's ways to make money. So, but with the whole thing with the thumbnails, you really want it to stand out. You want people to click it to see what you're saying and what you're talking about. So this working on thumbnails it's a really good thing to do, you know. And I'm learning as I continue to use ChatGPT and coming up with a bunch of ideas, because it's like every day I'm coming up with all kind of ideas, especially with the overlay, which is going to be the next thing I'm going to be talking about with the live stream overlays and stuff like that. You want to get something that fits for you. You want to get a style that's your style, especially when it comes with overlays. You know, as I said before my last video, play the game that you want to play. Don't play the game because of what's popular and all that, because like I said, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get any views or anything like that. So, you know, just don't try to think about that. Another thing that I do want to talk about too is when you're doing a YouTube channel, you want to think about your brand, you want to think about your style. So that's something that ChatGPT also kind of helped me out with my channel, you know, with the logo and the design and all that. And all this stuff that you see is just some personal stuff of mine, like my favorite color, my birth color, the line on there is my birth my birth sign. So it gave my own identity on here. It gave my own identity as a YouTuber. So, and that's what you want to go after. You want to go after, you know, having your own identity, especially when it comes to content creating. So, you know, you want to have your personality, because that's your biggest thing. Your personality is going to be your biggest asset when it comes to doing the content, because you want to separate yourself from everybody else. You don't want to sound the same. You don't want to use the same slogans. You don't want to do all that old, you know, he say, she say, he say this, so I'm gonna say the same thing, but make it sound better. So, you know, be a leader, not a follower. So, another thing, as you see on my logo, it says "Real Talk, Real Gaming." ChatGPT gave me that slogan to run with. So, and it fits me very well, because if you watch some of my previous streams, you know, when especially having those conversations about real life and stuff like that, and then also playing the game at the same time, you know, it's a strong slogan, and I really like that slogan, because it's a representation of me, not just as a gamer, but as a person and as a content creator, because I like to keep things as solid as possible, especially when it comes to doing content or having, you know, really good conversations, especially with going on with the gaming and sometimes real life stuff, especially with the whole gaming thing, because there's so much that's going on right now, which is just crazy to me. And, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, I just I don't take things to heart, but I take things into consideration. You know, allegedly make things is just like, well, this happened or this allegedly happened or whatnot. So it's just, you know, it's just one of those things. Like when I get on the live stream and I have those conversations, it makes the live stream that much easier. So, you know, it just, you know, when you're doing live streams, you know, you want to have fun. You want to have a good time with your viewers, and that's one thing. That's the most important thing, is to just be yourself. You know, like I said before, everything takes time to do. It takes time to, you know, kind of come on here and talk. It takes time to really get good with games, and it takes a lot of time to have the right energy when you get behind the mic or get behind the camera and get ready to hop on lives, because, you know, you don't want to be boring, and that's what. But, you know, I don't think about being boring. I just come on and just be me. That's one of the most important things. Just be you, and, you know, don't try to be somebody else that you're not, because it doesn't work well at all. So trust me on that. I've been doing this for almost going on 5 years now. Yeah, about 5 years now. So, you know, and everything kind of is working well for me so far. So, you know, and you know, that's just all I got to say about that. You know, you have to, in order to change or in order to continue to grow, you have to make a change within yourself. You have to make a change on how you approach doing content in a certain way, and try new things, because you never know. You might grow, or you might get that viral moment that you probably looking for. So, you know, don't you know, think outside the box when it comes down to doing content, especially gaming content, because who knows? You might be surprised what you might end up doing. So, you know, but that's my time for this video. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned to the latest content. If you got anything you want to add on, if you want to ask, hit the comment section below. Tell me your thoughts about, you know, being a gamer or being a content creator. Like, tell me your struggles and tell me how you grew and evolved. So, you know, that way we can help each other out. But other than that, y'all, this is Sham the God Speaks, and I'm out.